Can we just talk about just the Taylor thing for
we got to do it. We forgot to do it.
seconds?
Oh my God, we forgot to do it.
Do you want to talk about like the most magical celebration of musicians playing the songs that they love? Like, I can't think of a better example of the Taylor Hawkins tribute that happened over this past week.
Yeah.
Every single person on that stage is a person who has made their way in the music industry.
Yeah.
But the thing that really like warmed my heart was that there were so many folks that got their due and got shouted out at that event who primarily make their living behind the scenes.
Right.
The one that really jumps out to me is Josh Freese. For context, Josh Freese is a drummer, and you want to talk about a show where like the awareness of who is backing the band up more than anybody. That show was it. Between
the way the backline
Josh
revolved,
Freese
that whole show was like
Bowie's drummer and Travis Barker and Rufus and Roger Taylor.
Yes.
And I can't talk about Shane. It's just, it's too much.
Yeah.
But man, what a powerful example of working musicians, people who are in the throes of the industry. Yeah. And let me just throw out there a lot of nepotism. I'm not going to dig into that anymore.
100%.
If you want to talk about it, coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. I will dig into it.
Happy to talk about it. Yeah.
But seeing guys like Josh Freese get that much visibility on such a massive scale was super validating for me as a person who knows who he is and respects the work he's done in the industry over the past 30 some odd years. Yeah. And then seeing guys who don't normally do that kind of work really like sink their teeth into something. My two examples were hearing Josh Homme do Let's Dance by David Bowie was absolutely transcendent. What a
unbelievable,
amazing performance.
Unbelievable.
It almost makes up for what he did to Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Almost.
Wow.
So between Josh Homme doing Bowie absolute justice and seeing Wolfgang Van Halen do what he did.
God. Yeah.
And just seeing that lineage that it was just there.
Yeah.
And seeing that smirk that Eddie always gave, and just the amount of crap that Wolfgang Van Halen has had to deal with from these old farts who just are mad at him for not being his dad. Yeah. And to see him just so effortlessly do what he did. Super gratifying. I think that the look on Dave Grohl and Pat Smear's face as he was doing the intro to Hot for Teacher right before the whole thing kind of kicked off.
Yes.
I think just really spelled out what everybody else was feeling in that moment. Yeah. And just, there was so much joy in that event that I appreciated it a whole lot. One of my bandmates, a guy that I've worked with, and his wife is my eldest son's band teacher. They were there. They flew to London and they were there.
Damn.
And I can't imagine what it must have felt like to be in that space in that moment. So.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Hawkins is such a huge source of love for the whole industry. Like everyone who knew him completely adored the guy and knew that he adored them.
Yep.
And that was really very, very present in the whole show. It was so there, and people talked about it some, but also it was there in the performances. It was there in the way that there are a few acts that was like, how did that all happen? Like, what are those people doing here? But they all had a connection, and they all had a reason for being there. Like the through line of it was so clean, and it was really spectacular. When I tuned in, I backed up and watched it. A lot of it from the front, but the moment I tuned in was when Joe Walsh was covering Ravel's Bolero, which was interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen a rock band do Bolero before, but it was something. Anyhow,
I think Stuart Copeland made it really summed it up really well, where he was like, Taylor Hawkins made being a fanboy cool.
Yeah.
So between him and Dave, they figured out a way to be big nerds about the things that they love,
right?
But somehow also
be badass
became
about it.
Heroes themselves.
Yes. Yeah,
And I think that's really what it boils down to.
and that was their thing. Like he was a huge fan of his, and they were connected through the Police music that he was a fan of, and so and then same kind of relationship happened with Rush, right? The way that those guys came and did YYZ and
YYZ.
Zed. Sorry, it's amazing that losing that dude created such incredible art. It's perfect that it did, and it's heartbreaking that it did, and it did. That's how that is.